Alison, as the principal of Westlake Girls High School, what were some of the reasons why you chose to partner with Virtuoso Tutoring?
Well, I'm often asked about the possibility of having tutoring in the school, or I'm often asked to make recommendations, and I know the HODs and the deans and the senior staff members are often asked the same question. And we would not be keen to endorse a firm that we knew nothing about. And that's why I was very pleased when you came along with your proposal, and along with Mr. Smale. And we thought that that sounded more like the type of tutoring that we were happy to endorse.
What are some of the positive impacts that Virtuoso Tutoring has had on the school?
Well, I've been told that there is a growth in confidence in some of the students who have been tutored. I've certainly seen it for myself in at least one, and this is very positive. I also think it's positive that we are now offering a service to students that can be taken advantage of, and I know that parents have said to me they're very pleased that it's in place.
Okay, now, how would you say tutoring complements classroom teaching?
Well, in our case, what I had noticed, and I'm sure that all the tutors are the same, they are building on the classroom experience. So that instead of just taking some undefined lot of matter that people don't know, they're actually focusing on what's happening in the classroom that day or that week and building the tutorial on that.
Right. Now, what are some of the advantages for high school students who are tutored by their peers?
Well, I think the fact is that the peers are not that much older than students, so they can still remember how they think about things. They can often explain in a way that is understandable or more understandable. They seem to be more approachable, and students take it with a little bit more grace from their peers, I think, in the main. Not necessarily all the time, but usually.
Okay. Now, what has the school's involvement been with Virtuoso Tutoring?
Well, we really only provide the venue, to be quite honest, and the tutors who are selected from the school.
Okay, now tell us a bit more about how the school was involved in choosing those tutors.
Well, we asked students if they would be interested, and then they were vetted to make sure that they had the capability. So they're all very good students. And the lists were vetted by senior staff members and some HODs to see if they felt that we would not be doing an injustice to the students who have been tutored. And they seemed to pass the test.
That's great. Okay, now what about training of the tutors? How was the school involved in that?
Well, first of all, there were sessions here. I had a couple of senior staff members who are excellent teachers themselves speak to the students, but the real training really took place with Virtuoso Tutoring, who came to the school, and I sat in on their training sessions, and they were setting up scenarios with the students as to how they would cope and so on, set out ground rules for them to follow in some cases, to make sure that they understood exactly what was required of them. There was aspect of ethics in the training that was explained to students, so that the point is that Virtuoso Tutoring made it quite clear from the beginning that they didn't want to get offside with teachers. They wanted to complement teachers, and that's really important, because that's the last thing. That's not going to be helpful if you set teachers up against the tutors. Mm. Unfortunately, that can happen in some of the commercial programs on the outside. That has happened. Mm. And we wanted to avoid that.
Right. Now, what do you see the future of the partnership between Westlake Girls and Virtuoso Tutoring to be?
Well, I'd like to think that we could get onto it a little earlier in the year, and I think it should grow as each subject is added to the repertoire. I think it'll grow that way, but also as the credibility of the scheme becomes known, it will grow. because I have not met anyone yet who's been dissatisfied.
Right, now you've already hinted at this earlier, Alison, but your grandson gets tuition from Virtuoso Tutoring. So as a customer yourself, what do you like about the program that Virtuoso provides?
Immediate feedback. I'm very impressed to get the feedback that night, which by email, which I immediately send to his mother for her to have a look at, and his father, of course. And I think that it gives them a week to work on whatever has to be done. But the immediate feedback is really important. Of course, that's good teaching. You get feedback immediately as to how you're going, and I think that's really invaluable. Right. And the tutors, of course, set homework, which is checked. Notes are kept. I've been impressed with the fullness of the notes from the tutors every week, and I think they're doing a great job.
Great. Now, how does Virtuoso Tutoring tailor lessons to the individual needs of each customer?
Well, the tutors have to get to know what's happening in the classroom. And some HODs have been extremely helpful in that respect, giving information about what is required in the ordinary classroom program. And that's the way it is usually done, to be quite honest, by working in partnership with teachers.
Okay, now how do you track your grandson's progress?
Well, he's doing quite well at school in the subjects that he's been tutored in, which is good. That's how I track it, and I read about it, of course, and he tells me. He's very excited when he does extremely well.
Great, so you're getting positive feedback from your grandson as well then?
Oh, yes. Well, it wouldn't, quite frankly, if he wasn't happy with it, then I wouldn't really continue with it, I suppose. But he looks forward to coming every week. Doesn't mind coming down to the girls' school. And I think some of the boys come down here, other boys come down here as well. But he feels that he's benefiting, which is really good. And it's fun. I think that he is enjoying it.
Right. Now, would you recommend Virtuoso Tutoring to other parents and grandparents?
Certainly. I've no doubt that it can work. I think it's a very good program, and I'm really pleased with its success. I'm delighted to think that we've got more students interested in the program now, and I'm especially interested in the fact that we have some boys come down here to be taught by our girls, which is rather nice.
Great. Now, we've been talking to Alison Gernhoefer of Westlake Girls High School about Virtuoso Tutoring. If you want to find out more about Virtuoso Tutoring, please visit www.virtuosotutoring.co.nz.